folks. I'm Nathan. This is a quick introduction to Next.js. It's a framework built around React. It lets you build web apps, and particularly the front-end UI kind of part. And it's similar to Create React App, if anybody's familiar with that. They both provide a lot of the plumbing you need to just get productive with React really quickly. They do watch your code, they compile it, they do live hot changes in the browser. So as soon as your code changes, the browser refreshes itself. On top of that, Next provides a really simple router. It provides server-side rendering. It provides some smart handling for CSS. And so I'm going to go through a few different snippets of code and just show you some of these things in progress. So you can see right here, I have a really pretty basic React component. It just returns some HTML. This file is in pages/index.js, and my Next.js server is running, and that pages folder is special. It automatically maps files in there to a URL in the browser. So if I add some other pages, I now have two pages here. I've got a foo and an index. I've got a static with an image. The static folder is the only other special folder for Next.js, and it just serves up whatever assets are in there. The foo page, another simple React component. And if I go to /foo, if I spell it correctly, it will automatically render that React component and serve it up as HTML. So there are some components that they provide to make routing a little bit easier. So there's a link component that Next.js provides. And I'm using this link component here, and I made my own React layout component, and it just wraps a div and a couple of links around whatever children you pass in, and the links go to home and foo. And I updated my home page and my foo page to each have this layout wrapped around the existing content, and so the links appear here at the top of the screen. And when I click it, these are rendered client side, so it's not doing a new request for the home and the foo. It's just rendering it all on the client. There's programmatic ways to handle this too. The next thing I want to show you is get initial props. React has some life cycle methods where you can hook into different stages in the rendering process. Next.js provides one new method called getInitialProps. They pass you in a context object. It's got some different things. If it has request and response, then you know you're being rendered on the server. If it doesn't, then you know you're being rendered on the client. So here, when I click foo, it says hello from the client. If I hit refresh, it will say hello from the server. And you can make this an asynchronous function. You can make it synchronous and just return an object like I did here. You can have a return a promise. And that's where they'd recommend doing like a network request if you need to pull in some data from an API. They recommend isomorphic fetch as their kind of preferred asynchronous JavaScript networking library that you can use anything you want. The last thing I want to show you is a little bit of CSS handling. So I have updated my layout with a style tag. It's got this JSX flag, and so these style lines are namespaced to just the components. So even though it says A, it only applies to A tags that are directly inside the component. It doesn't apply to the children. And there's a way to work around that and break out to global. You add a global flag to the style sheet. And so now I have two style tags. This one is going to be namespaced to just my component. This one has the global attribute. So the A tag applies both to the elements within the component and elements elsewhere on the page. And you could import the style sheet, and it will behave the same way. If you import a style sheet here, it'll be as if it were a global thing, and it will apply to everything on the page while that component is being rendered. As soon as the component disappears from the page, its associated style sheet also is removed from the page. So there is a pretty good learn kind of introduction at nextjs.org, and the code from this is up on GitHub. So, and I'll put a link in Slack